This episode of the Recovery Couch is brought to you by JB Davis at Performance Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. For integrity, service, and unbeatable deals, ask for my friend JB in Centerville and tell him the Recovery Couch sent you. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome back to the Recovery Couch. This is a mini-series we call Just Like You. And in episode 1, we're going to talk about being buried but still breathing, which takes me back to a time in my life where I truly believed I was done. I was buried under addiction, shame, regret, and pain. Not physically dead, but spiritually gone. Emotionally numb. Numb to who I was, numb to who I had hurt, numb to hope. And I just remember laying there on this mattress, strung out on dope, staring at a ceiling that I just couldn't really stomach to look at anymore. My phone was off. I'm pretty sure I probably didn't smell great. My family had stopped calling. I'd lost everything. The trust of the people I loved, my freedom, my dignity. And the worst part of it all, I'd given up. I didn't care. Or at least I thought I didn't care. Because somewhere deep down inside of me, in that silent space between getting high and just hating myself and who I had become, I heard something. When you hear that, you're probably thinking like what you heard voices, not audibly, no. I didn't hear some voice come from a cloud saying, if you build it, he will come. But internally, I heard something. Inside of me, I heard something. It was faint, but it was there. And it told me, you're not done yet. And to be honest with you, I didn't believe it at the time, but I felt it. It was the first little glimpse of hope that I had felt inside of my body, and I couldn't even tell you how long. I was still breathing, which meant maybe, just maybe, there was still a way forward. So if you were wondering, that's why we call this episode Buried But Still Breathing. Because even if life has thrown dirt on your dreams, like it did mine, then just remember, if you're still here, you're not finished. You're not too far gone, and you're not beyond redemption. I'm not telling you this to try to spark a pep rally. I'm telling you as someone who's lived it. I lived this shit, bro. Lived it. And that full story, the raw truth of what it took to get from the mattress to this microphone, is finally being told in my upcoming autobiography. It's called Step 4. A Journey Through Addiction, set to release this fall. Every scar, every setback, every miracle, it's all in the book. Because if there's one thing that I believe in to the core of my being, to my bones, it's telling the truth. Because I believe our stories can set people free. I believe when people read the truth about the depths of our darkness, that they can relate more than they will ever show on the outside. And when they hear our crazy stories and when they hear our scars, they don't read it and think, what a weirdo. They hear it and think, what courage it takes to talk about that. I used to think that survival meant staying alive. But now I know real survival is choosing to hope again. Because a life with no hope just really ain't worth living. You gotta have hope. We gotta choose to believe even when there's no proof in front of us. It's saying, God, if you're real, help me now. That was my first prayer in years. And it wasn't poetic, quite frankly, my dude. It was desperate. And maybe that's where you are right now. Or maybe you love someone who's buried so deep they can't even see the light. And I'm sitting right here right now to tell you, even dirt can't smother your destiny. Even the grave can't hold Jesus down. He rose from that. You might feel like you're stuck in a tomb, but tombs were never meant to be permanent, contrary to the lie the devil tries to convince us of. They're temporary. So what do you do when you're buried but still breathing? I thought you'd never ask. You don't run. You don't perform. Brother man, you just breathe. You ask for help. You whisper, I need something more than what I've settled for. And if we can bring ourselves to do that, then we are already walking into our resurrection. That moment, that whisper, is the beginning of our comeback. It's not loud. It's not glorious. Take mine, for instance. It was subtle. It was an internal voice. My family wasn't celebrating, oh my gosh, he's going to make a comeback. Nobody knew, but it was honest. And that was enough. And if you're sitting there listening to this thinking that you're so far gone that you could never have a comeback like mine, I need you to know that that is exactly what this episode is about. I was in the same mindset. I was too far gone. I'd made too many mistakes. I had too much shame. I was carrying too much guilt for the world to ever accept somebody as broken as me again. And here I sit today with a platform and a book, not because of anything I did, because God gave me grace and said, son, you are forgiven. That stuff don't matter. It only matters to you in your brain because you're letting the devil convince you that it does. It don't, not when you're a child of mine. And I pray, my prayer right now is that whoever needs to hear that hears it, because your destiny might be greater than my destiny. And until you take that hope and act on it and trust it, you will never know. I hope you hear me. I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of The Recovery Couch. If you're buried right now but still breathing, then stay with us. This mini-series is all about what got me from surviving to speaking, and how you might not think so, but I'm just like you. For the full picture of my story, check out Step 4, which is coming this fall. I can't wait for you to read it. The next episode, God met me in a jail cell. Until then, stay honest, stay hopeful, and stay right here on The Recovery Couch. This episode of The Recovery Couch is brought to you by Greg Swartz at Remax Victory and Affiliates. Whether you're buying or selling your home, Greg brings heart, hustle, and honesty to every deal. Call Greg at 937-477-8975 today.